Storytelling in film follows a structured approach to engage audiences emotionally and logically. The most widely used structure in film scriptwriting is the three-act structure, but there are other models as well. A classic and widely used structure that divides the story into three main parts. Act 1, setup, which is about 25% of the script. Introduction, establish the main character or characters, setting and tone. Inciting incident, a life-changing event or problem that pushes the protagonist into action. First plot point. The protagonist makes a decision that sets the story in motion. For example, in The Lion King, Simba's life changes when Mufasa dies, which is the inciting incident, and he is forced to leave his home, marking the first plot point. Act 2, confrontation, which makes up 50% of the script. Rising action. The protagonist faces challenges, allies and enemies while trying to achieve their goal. Midpoint twist. A major revelation or shift in the story that changes the character's motivation or direction. Second plot point. A major setback or emotional low point for the protagonist. For example, in The Dark Knight, Batman captures the Joker at the midpoint, but then Joker reveals his plan to corrupt Harvey Dent, leading to chaos. This, right here, is the second plot point. Act 3, resolution, which takes up about 25% of the script. The climax is where the protagonist faces their biggest challenge, often a final battle or an emotional confrontation. Then we have the falling action, where loose ends are tied up and the consequences of the climax unfold. Denouement. This is where the story concludes, showing the protagonist new reality. For instance, in Titanic, Jack sacrifices himself for Rose at the climax. She survives during the falling action, and later we see an older Rose reminiscing in the denouement. A storytelling model often used in epic adventures and fantasy films. 1. Ordinary world, the hero's normal life. 2. Call to adventure, the hero faces a challenge. 3. Refusal of the call, the hero hesitates. 4. Meeting the mentor, they receive guidance. 5. Crossing the threshold, the hero enters the unknown world. 6. Tests allies and enemies, the hero faces obstacles. 7. Approach to the inmost cave. The hero nears the major challenge. 8. The ordeal, the hero's biggest test. 9. Reward, they gain something valuable. 10. The road back, they return home. 11. Resurrection, the final challenge. 12. Return with the elixir, the hero is transformed. Example, in The Matrix, Neo follows this path from an ordinary programmer to the one used in Shakespearean and drama films. 1. Exposition, introduces characters and setting. 2. Rising action, conflict begins and escalates. 3. Climax, the turning point. 4. Falling action, consequences of the climax unfold. 5. Denouement, the resolution. Example, many classical dramas and tragedies like Romeo and Juliet follow this structure. For experimental or complex narratives, some films use non-linear structures to tell a story in unique ways, parallel storylines, where two or more stories run alongside each other, like in Pulp Fiction, and then there's reverse chronology, where the story is told backward, as seen in Memento. Multiple perspectives offer different characters' views of the same event. A classic example of this is Rashomon. Create a compelling protagonist, give them a clear goal, strengths and flaws, and remember, conflict is key. Without conflict, there is no story. Build emotional connection, make the audience care about the characters. Use visual storytelling, show, don't just tell, and finally ensure a satisfying payoff by resolving major story threads by the end.